Hey, so welcome to another beautiful morning out here at the River House. Definitely thanks for joining us, and possibly one of the last videos shot on the Franken camera. Well, that's not, I mean, the Franken camera is an institution, right? She's now made up of 3 separate cameras, and by gosh, it keeps on ticking. So definitely it will remain. But Jeff Bradshaw over at Elderly Iron had a backup camera and decided he was just going to send it to us. So we will transition over to his Canon and give that a shot. If you haven't seen Elderly Iron, if you're even mildly entertained here, you'll definitely like him. But we are out working again today, primarily on electrics. Dad is on his way, and probably once again it'll be a day of very little shooting because, quite frankly, his time is simply too valuable. Before he gets here, however, I'm working on that wall that had a case of the wobbles during that 25-year windstorm. We got this beam right here, which is simultaneously too small and a little big. It was going to be door headers, but in the end we decided, let's use something bigger. I know it's kind of crazy that you'd look at that and think, is that truly big enough for a door header? But that's what we did. And I have now stripped, I banged you on something. I have now stripped that wall, where is it? Up there, of all of its uppity downy woody bits. They're now stacked over there, and the idea is to grunt that monster, get her up the stairs, somehow onto the scaffolding, somehow cantilevered over the death edge over there, and possibly lift it up into position. In true overcomplicated River House fashion, I have a series of giant lag bolts to bolt it together, along with polyurethane glue. I know for a fact if she's glued and screwed up there, there will not be any wobbling ever again. So if you didn't catch the windstorm update, what happens is these vertical uprights here are these massive, essentially box beam constructions we've got there. There are multiple 2x8s sandwiched with plywood. In between them, it's all glued and screwed together. They'd hold up a house holding up a horse. The problem, however, is they're tied to our other walls here in a very inefficient way. And so the vertical part up there was flexing in. This entire mass was flexing as one, was flexing in. And the 2 walls where they joined together were flexing between each other, and all of it in theory was wrangled by a single 2x8 top plate. There was a lot of leverage, there was quite a bit of a fulcrum point right there, so I don't know what I'm doing, right? And in that instance, my overbuilt is underbuilding. I missed a spot. Yeah, so we are going to put that big old beam up there, and once it's glued, screwed, and lagged, there ain't no way that wall is ever going to move. On this wall here, we have a similar rocky joint setup where it joins that window section. In fact, you can actually see a missing chunk of bottom sill up there. But this is further braced by all of our rafters. So there's a lot less stress on it. It's unfortunately got a rafter kind of set right in the middle of the weak part of the joint. So while it is still way more than strong enough as is, my natural instinct would be to try to reinforce it anyways because of ignorance and fear. But I can't do what I'm doing here. Right? You can't take off a truss and saw off 8 inches of it and put it back up. So If I get too twitchy, I might put some big steel strapping or something up there. But when we inspected that joint during the quarter-century massive windstorm, it was utterly rock solid. For that wall to wiggle, it has to wiggle the center wall. For the center wall to wiggle, it has to wiggle the outer wall. And for all of it to wiggle, the house has to fall down. So I'm not fussed with that one. This I can fix. All right, she's in. I will say, when you grab it in the middle and shake the bejesus out of it, it still moves. Not like before. And even before it didn't move much. And it moves less. And I don't have the uprights in it. But it's not zero. I mean, the same thing can be said for these vertical walls. And I suppose that's just the reality of the beast. I mean, come on, man. That's a big stick up there. It's got to be enough, right? Well, we had decided that even not fixing it would still have been just fine. So doing this has got to have dramatically increased what just fine means. I could throw in more lag bolts. I've got 2 4 inches from the end, and then every 12 inches after that. So every foot this thing is down, and it's got glue. It had a bit of a bow in it, but you watched me take that out by screwing cleats on the wall and leveraging it over. So I have pre-stressed it, actually in a way that makes it stronger, but it's got to be enough. I mean, there's more wood there than holds up entire walls in my house, so. All right, so now, at least until Dad shows up, I will put those vertical uprights in. I do kind of expect him here at any moment, barring some sort of roadway or mechanical issue. Cool. And, you know, without those verticals, the only support in that entire wall, from the top to the, well, bottom of the roof sheeting, is 2x4s laid flat and then the actual wall sheeting itself. I bet she tightens up like a drum as soon as I put those verticals in. Either way, certainly strong enough. All right, it is restored to its former glory. Putting those in had no effect on whatever wobbly wobblies might be in there, but still, it can't break now. And as always the case, getting my uprights, which were a story of verticular perfection, I just coined that, it's now got a small case of the weeble wobbles, but life is what life is, and that's what they make drywall shims for, right? Yeah. All right. It wasn't like a necessary thing, but it was one of those things that weighed on your mind, and now it is entirely done. And I think I just heard a car door, so my timing was spot on. All right. Cool. Day's not a total wash. Going in the wind column. It's gravy from here. Oh, and did you catch that moment where a over $300 batteried worm drive saw almost bounced down a flight of stairs? Good times. Good times. Well, here we are at the end. I got glorious hair at the end of another long, rather chilly weekend where Dad came down. Didn't film a thing, his time's too valuable. But lots of stuff done. The fuse or circuit breaker panel is in and glorious, although big. Gave up, just decided not everything has to be perfect, right? And we're putting it in the hallway. The plan will be to paint the cover, and I imagine it'll just disappear. But it's in the hallway. There's no worry about getting our variance for the 2.5 inches. What we found out was that we're required, because we're so far from the pedestal, we're required to put a master shutoff on the house. So if we have a master shutoff in the house, then there is no requirement that this thing be on an outside wall. So we're sticking it here, and we'll just pipe wires and conduit and feed it. Look at all the twisty, twirly, wiry goodness. So we got a main right here. Gonna have a switch for the kitchen lights, a switch for the first big chandelier, which will be right there, a switch for the fan, which is right there in the middle, and then the second big chandelier. Haven't built those yet. Plan on building them, because have you priced out lights? We're gonna put 2 little sconces right there. That's not in. Another big panel here. We've got an outdoor porch light, we have got there's a light in the stairs. Even though our stairs don't have a roof, it's required. And then there are four. There are four. They're not really room lights, not quite bright enough for that, but they're not accent lights either. They're just lights. And that will be on this switch here. Out porch, the main loft, and I think the two big chandeliers are there. Oh, we only had one real screw up where for whatever reason I had tried to put the fan on the wrong bay. But we'd already terminated it. But we got this light box here and we're going to use it as a junction box. So the fan will just pass through that. It's all covered. It's all legit. And that's just a my bad kind of thing. Got to use our rolling scaffolding. Look at all these spaghetti wires in here. Doing my best to keep them straight and neat. No angled corners. Everything goes 90. Two reasons: it looks neater, and if you ever need a few more inches because you screwed it up, you pull that staple and you cut that corner, which has nothing to do with that one angled wire right there. But yeah, I couldn't have done it without Dad, literally, because I don't understand. I understand a little more now, but probably not even to the point of being dangerous at this point. So they're going to go back and see my grandpa, Shay's great-grandfather. Spend a few days there. Lots of stuff I can work on. I can get all of the upper insulation in. Obviously I can't cover the walls, but I can do all of the upper bays. This is that two bay wall there with the gap in between them. But I can get can't do that yet, but I can do all these upper bays. It's not going to feel any temperature difference in here because our heat loss is going out the ceiling up there, but I can get these bundles of insulation out of my way, or at least get them knocked down more. This used to be straighter. I have a suspicion there was a little boy playing a little WWE up here, wrestling itchy rock wool bales. But yeah, if I can get rid of a bunch of these and just stick them up in there, definitely all the better. I need to put in an order for that stuff. I gotta find out when my property taxes are due and make sure we keep enough aside for that. We normally would be looking at paying the insurance on the big Army tour truck company, and that's about $4,500, and I know that money is still sitting in an account somewhere, so maybe I steal that. But that would be enough to grab just one trailer load of the big roof insulation. I couldn't put it all in yet, but I could start putting a fair bit of that stuff up, and then I still have to figure out the vapor barrier, at least on these end wall runs right here, to stop this heat from rising. It's not super bad, right? Because you've got your wall plate right there, but there's still a bit that radiant heat could climb up. So I want to come down. I've got the sheet downstairs. It's actually old dry erase whiteboard marker classroom boards that I got out of the school's dumpster, and that's what we're going to cut up. I just need a radiant barrier to stop. I just need blocking. It's that, or I've got to come in and put well, it wouldn't be 2x4 blocking in it would be, what, 5.5 inches, something like that. But I could just put that sheet up there and that'll be good. Bob's your uncle. But yeah, we got a lot done. You know, I'm proud of what we got. I'm still standing in the middle of 2 bathrooms. It was marked on the floor. That's long since gone. It didn't survive the snowstorm. So that'll have to be remarked out. Unfortunately, the computer that was carrying the major plans crashed. So we're kind of starting over there. Yeah, giant chandeliers right here. I got ideas. I got dangerous ideas. Dangerous ideas and 2 gigantic steel tractor rims. We'll have to find out if that's just a little too industrial for Danny. And I gotta make sure what I put up there will hold it. But I'm getting out of here. I gotta, as always on a Sunday night, I gotta go back to school. I got lesson plans to build. Maybe another dozen semester tests to grade. So this boy has got to be getting on. But do appreciate you guys coming along for the ride. Thanks for watching.